story. So, man, I'm excited. Let's dive into it, man. If for my audience, just introduce yourself and tell us one fact that maybe both you, your audience, and my audience wouldn't know.
All right, let's get into it. So my name is Jai Long. I'm from Melbourne, Australia. And one random fact about me is I have so many stories to do with my life that I can keep telling them and people still haven't heard them. So that's one random fact. I've lived many lives in a short amount of time.
Oh, I love it, bro, love it. What's tell us your favorite food because I feel like you haven't told the audience that.
Okay, yeah. So my favorite food is vegan pizza.
Oh, vegan pizza. All right, sweet. Love it, love it. Now, I know you run multiple businesses
Yep.
at the moment, and how do you keep yourself going? You know, like I know you run, you're a business coach, you run a photo booth, wedding photography, you've done it all. You know, how do you sort of manage it all, bro, and balance it?
I think for me, like it's all built up over time, so often we can see someone else's life and we think it's overwhelming, they're doing too many things, but it's all about having a base level. So a base level for someone that's unemployed, just going to work is a hard thing. It's like, how do you manage doing that 5 days a week? That's a big task. And then as you get employed and you get a job in 5 days, and then you get maybe a side hustle, and then people say, so how do you do that? And after a while, maybe you get a little business on the weekend. And then after a while, you start your own business, and then maybe two, and then three, and then four. And so it's all about that base level, and yeah, just understanding like how you work, and then just keep building on, and then it just feels normal for you. It doesn't feel overwhelming, doesn't feel like I'm working hard. It doesn't feel like anything else but just my regular day-to-day baseline, basically.
Yeah, honestly, when I see you like on socials and pretty much everywhere, I always see you like, grinding or like working on the next thing or, onto the next thing. Is it like, did you develop that kind of mindset over a certain period of time? Or was that like you growing up and your upbringing that kind of had an effect on it?
I think it's my upbringing. I think for me, like, I love hard work, and I think everyone should love hard work. It's like you get in there, you do the work, and then it's done, and then you do it again and do it again and do it again and keep showing up. And one of the main traits to any kind of success is persistence, but also repetition. You put in the reps, and the person that can continue to put on the reps for years to come will always get more success than the person that's chasing the shiny thing, or that is here for one moment, gone the next. So I know consistency for me is key, and it's so easy to take 1,000 or 1,000,000 small steps than it is trying to jump leaps all the time. And so I just think about that, like every day, just another little step towards my goals and my dreams and whatever I want to achieve.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Is it, like if we take it back, when like in your household, in your family environment, were you always that kid that was like, oh shit, like I'm gonna try do all these things, like, or were you did you always have the confidence, which is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to get to?
I did. Like, I was definitely the kid that tried everything and had a lot of hobbies. And I think for me, like, I was never like, a lot of people label themselves as something. For instance, like, it's easy for me to label myself as I'm a photographer, but then I exclude everything else. Like, I could say I'm a podcaster, I'm a business coach, but it's pretty rare that you hear me label myself on anything, because it's just not true. Like, I'm Jai, I'm a human, and I have a lot of hobbies. I've got a lot of businesses and projects and goals and things like that. But yeah, for me, man, like, life is way too fluent compared to what my life is anyway, compared to like a lot of people have, like, very much like, this is the goal, this is the one career path, and this is all there is. Where I just want to try and test everything. There's so many amazing things out in the world. Like, how could you settle for just one thing all the time?
And I think that's probably one of the big reasons I'm so attracted to you. You say that word pivot a lot, and I'm very very inspired by that. And I think a lot of times people always choose the straight road or like only choose one path. And I'm similar. I'm always trying new things and always trying to pivot and always trying to work on the next thing. And I think that's why I was so attracted to all the things you do. And honestly, bro, like, how is it for you quite difficult to like move on and pivot from stage to stage and change your
Nah.
mindset? Easy as?
Man,
Yeah.
it's like I was saying before, so fluent, right? So
Yeah.
what happens is, a lot of us, we tie our ego up to something. So it's like, this is my one shot, this is my one business, this is the one thing. But for me, like, man, every business, every project is a vessel. So it's like I say, it's a ship.
Mm.
And so if it gets me from where I was to where I want to be, then I can sink the thing. Like, I don't care. I'll move on to the next thing, right? So everything has a shelf life, everything ends, but everything begins as well. And I think that's the beautiful thing that I'm always looking for. It's new beginnings.
Yeah, yeah, I can feel that. Do you think that you've got like some sort of secret source in you
I
where
got
like
lots of secrets.
I know, I love it. I know that. But like in terms of like intentions, like because I feel like, the way like sometimes people confuse ego and intentions. And I feel like, the way you put across your intentions and the value you bring even to your community. I think a lot of times people struggle to do that and pull it off, in an authentic way. And do you think that, you and your upbringing had an effect on that?
Yeah, like I think I'm got a really good BS meter, and I think a lot of people do these days. And so you can really see when someone's genuinely out to help someone, and when someone's just in it for monetary gains or fame or just a quick win or whatever it is. So these days, like it's everyone definitely holds something up, and like it's more so instead of what you say, it's what you do, and that's the most important thing. It is what you say as well. Like if you're at a restaurant with someone and someone's rude to the waiter, but they're nice to you, like their true selves is talking to the waiter, and so you don't really want to do business with that person or whatever it is. But it's the way that you show up and the way that you act and talk to anyone. So it doesn't matter if they got one follower on Instagram or they got 1 million followers on Instagram, like whatever background they come from, like whatever it is. And I think when someone sees that you're actually genuinely there to help, not just to make money or something else, they show up for you as well. So it's a two-way street.
No, I can see that, and you are a big giver. And sometimes people can take advantage of that. And I can, you'll see the real ones that actually show up on the day, and that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Okay, because I was in your, like I was saying, I was in your sales with purpose training as well. And honestly, like the shit you said, inspiration shit, and it really inspires people to stay consistent. And I think, the messaging around that, it was powerful. But I wanted to
like simplifies everything too, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Because it's like, I'm learning all these strategies, but Joe just told me in such a simple way that it's like, okay. Exactly. It's like it's common sense almost. Why isn't it, common practice?
Exactly. And I think the way you put it across there and how simple you make every conversation, I think it's powerful. And I just want to understand, how did you get to this point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna build us a community. I'm gonna do the business map, and like talk us through that, because I want my audience to really understand the process, because I'm a big believer in community building, and community building is where you make the biggest impact, the biggest change, things like that. And that's where a real entrepreneur becomes like the next level, because a lot of times business owners are all talk. Business owners can get demoralized, can lose hope, but an entrepreneur expects it. And I know you've said that multiple times. An entrepreneur expects to fail, expects to lose. And I think that's why, like I said, I'm so attracted to you, because you talk the shit that I talk about on the daily basis. And I think, what's your thinking process when you're like, oh fuck it, man, I'm gonna get out of bed one day and be like, let's fucking make a community. Let's make a business map. Let's educate creators and photographers, and let's fuck shit up. And what made you think about that?
Man, it's interesting. Like the thing that makes a really good community, obviously, is when you don't have self-interest in it and you create it for the sake of creating it and just to make the world a better place. So there's a lot of people that like create communities. Like, I can create a community in 6 weeks and be profitable, but it's not really a community. It's just you filled up your funnel full of customers, right? And so it was back in 2015, I ran my first workshop. That's when I was like, okay, I'm going to create a community. And the reason being was I was inside so many other educators communities, and there was just so much toxic stuff going on in there. Like there's a lot of whingers for starters, but just the stuff that they were teaching wasn't in line with what I would teach or talk about. And it also bring me down and bring other people down. And I didn't like the hierarchy. So for just straight up a no-brainer of like, okay, I'm going to create my own community. I'm going to create my own thing. And that was 2015. The stuff that I teach today is the same stuff I taught back then. And it's funny because like now it's like getting trendy and everyone's starting to repeat the same things. But like back then it was like foreign, and it's like, oh my God, we're talking about mindset and all this stuff. It just took a long time for everyone to catch up. But for me, because I'll be here long before most people and long after most people, because I'm just here doing the same thing. I think a lot of people are attracted to that as well, because they can see that it's genuine. And a lot of people, like when they come join my business map and stuff, literally just this time when we had people join, it was They were like, Jai, like I came to your workshop in 2015. I came to it in 2016. You did this for me. You helped me, shoot a wedding, and you did this, and you didn't expect anything from it, And so I get all these stories, and they're like, now I'm here, 8 years later, and I'm joining your business map, and it's amazing. So it's cool to sort of, just keep showing up constantly, regardless of if anyone's listening or if it's growing or anything else, and just like actually preaching your stuff, regardless if it's trendy or if it's the popular thing, the hot thing at the moment, like whatever it is.
Yeah, no, oh, that's powerful, bro. And it's so good that, because I can see you put so much heart into it, and you're not ever thinking about like, what's the return I'm going to get today, or what's the return I'm going to get tomorrow. You're
Oh,
always
totally.
you're always talking about, like, it's always about the long game. It's always about the future. And I think there's not many people, especially in circles, that think like that, and I can assure you, if we had Jai Long in every circle, it would be a different circle, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, just touching back on community a little bit more, in terms of the industry. I feel like, sometimes, there's a scarcity mindset, especially around educators, and like, when there's too much old guys at the top,
Mm-hmm.
they get a little bit nervous when a new guy jumps in, and they start to, get nervous. And was it a bit of a journey for you? Did you take a lot of hits before you could,
Oh yeah,
come?
huge, man. I mean, there were so many gatekeepers. There were so many people. Like, I ran my first workshop, and people told me straight away, like, "Who am I to do it? What's all the excuses under the sun." Everyone felt very threatened, of course. And I hadn't been in the industry for that long, like whatever it is. But for me, man, I was like, yeah, well, your education's outdated, and I'm ready to change things up. Like, that's the end of the day. Like, you're not best serving your clients and the people. You're best serving yourself. And so for me, it was like a clear choice to keep going against the grain. But man, the amount of times I got no's and I got knockdowns, and people I looked up to, and they disowned me or whatever it is. And it's been a fucking long journey. I would say it's probably in the whole industry, I'd say I've gone through the most to get to where I am. But also, like, I get the biggest success as well because of those reasons. Like, I'm resilient and I'm ready to keep showing up and showing up. But even today, you're saying scarcity in the industry, but we get this shit today as well. Like, we get blackmail, we get people that try and call us out, bring us down. They're going to end our career. They're going to create something equal but cheaper. They're going to steal our course. They're going to do this. They're going to start a podcast to say the same things, and because they got more followers. Like, we hear it all the time. But man, the amount of times that those people come and go, like, it's
Yeah.
almost like it's just not even on my radar anymore. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, do your thing.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, like, sometimes how we can have that communities, to be honest. And it breaks
Mm,
my heart. It breaks my
mm.
heart. And honestly, just seeing what you do, and like I said, there's not many people that can even communicate or educate people the way you do. And I think that's powerful. Just also, I wanted to get your thinking on this, around the industry. Is it like, was it quite hard, like, in a sense where, how do I put this, in terms of you, like, showing up every single day? Was it difficult in that, like staying, like, in your own head, like making sure, oh shit, I'm committed to this, like,
Mm.
now I got to show up, like that little part, if that makes sense? Like, I don't know if I'm putting that question right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I wouldn't say it's difficult for me
Yeah.
because I just know it's part of the job. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's just like it is just work. Like, it's, I show up every day because show up on social media every day because I'm like, that's my job. That's what I do.
Mm,
I'm good at that. So this suits my personality because way before I was even doing coaching, I was still showing up every single day. I was on MySpace, I
yeah.
was on Flickr all the time. Like, I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram. Like, I continue to move around, do my thing. And I think it's just sort of like you have, you know, success comes to us, those that build a ladder, right? And so the ladder is on the left side, you have the belief system. Like, I believe that I'm worthy to have a voice out in the world. I'm going to create something amazing. The other side is the success habits, which is me, repetition, doing it over and over and over, regardless if anyone's listening. And then the runs of the ladder is the skills. So I'm always like, where do I need to learn? Like, what do I need to learn? Who do I need to learn it from? And
Mm,
then I'm always like adding a new skill on. And then that allows me to go as far as my imagination wants to dream up, and do whatever I want to do. So yeah, it's part of, like, if you want to be successful, you have to dial in those success habits. Like, it just doesn't happen for anyone else. It's like the same as someone going wanting to be shredded, even if they went and had steroids, it wouldn't do anything unless you did the reps. It just wouldn't work. Like, you'd get overweight, but you would not get shredded like you want to. So it's the same as business. It doesn't matter what shortcuts you take, unless you're doing the reps, it just won't work.
That makes sense. You gotta put in the work, put in the reps to make the magic happen. 100%. In terms of like, okay, let's talk about like the business map, because there's a lot of creatives and stuff like that that probably lack confidence, and they're probably too nervous to sign up to a course. And like,
Totally.
the first thing would be, oh fuck, I don't have enough money, or oh, I'm not getting any leads at the moment. Why should I even sign up? Or I'm so good at taking these fucking photos. Like, why aren't people paying? Can you tell me why, especially like for creatives, not only photographers or wedding photographers, because I know the business map literally is for every creative and every type of business. And why would you say the business map is going to have bigger impact?
Well, one of the reasons why people wouldn't sign up because they think it's too expensive is because they're not acting as a business owner. So there's a big difference. I was actually talking to the team about this the other day, and they're the ones that actually enlightened me with this concept. But like, if I think about it, like me spending $2,500 on just wages this week for one person, like, man, no problem. I do that all day long. They're moving the needle. Someone's working in the business, like, things are happening, right? But then all of a sudden we join a course that's $2,500. It's like, oh my God, this is life-changing decision. Like, it's so much money. But I don't mind spending money on my business, but I do mind spending money on myself. So would I spend $2,500 on clothes? I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of money. Or $2,500 just on a course for myself. Oh, that's a lot of money. So we see ourselves in business completely differently. So most creative entrepreneurs that will say something like that, they're not really a business owner yet. So they're seeing it out as their own income that they've earned. It's not going to make a return on their business because they haven't got a business. So I think that's the first thing, is like getting the mindset. Like, once you become a business owner, you don't mind spending money to make money, because that's what business is. It's like a no-brainer. That's tax deductible. You know how it all works. The rooms you need to be in, the people you need to know, the skills that you need to obtain. So I think that's the main thing. And then the things that people learn, and I guess one of the most important things is making people pay for something like this means they pay attention. So like, even when we first started, there was courses out there that people were like, why would anyone buy your course when there's one out there for $300? But it's not like, people are not looking for a cheap course. They're looking for results, regardless of how much that costs. And so I can buy a cheap course all day long. I can go to YouTube all day long. But like, if I want results, man, I'm going to pay for those. And so it's a different game. And when people do join, like, it's for them, it's like a life-changing journey, because they meet other people that are on that same path. They're just investing themselves that same amount of money. So that means they're on the same thought pattern, right? So straight away you're in a new room, and there's people, you've got access to people that make it 300,000, 500,000. And so you can talk to them and things that have all worked and everything. And then I really feel like everyone's celebrating wins and celebrating each other, and everything moving up. Like, straight away you get a buzz because you're keen to go in there and become one of the case studies. And the skills that you learn is all easy, So that's the thing. It's like, skills is never the hard part. You can learn skills from anywhere. It's the self-belief and it's the success habits that are harder. And so I spend a lot of time teaching mindset and giving people the skills. So after they're finished, it's lifelong skills, not just for the course and for this one industry. It's literally like, they walk away and like, man, I use that, I use those sales skills now. My husband, I use those pricing skills. Like, I've got a new side hustle, a new business. Like, I've used the marketing that you taught me, and it would translate throughout their whole lives.
Yeah, no, that's epic. That's epic. And I obviously, like, I read through some of the case studies, and the one thing that I kind of got the vibe is like, the power of community, and how the relationships are built in the business net by everybody interacting and things like that.
That's amazing.
And obviously you do like events and stuff like that, and to get people together. And I think that kind of stuff, it gives people a sense of belonging. It makes them feel like they're not in this journey alone. And I think a lot of times, especially as creatives, people can feel like isolated. And I think that's the real magic. And I think just for
isn't it?
That's the essence, bro. That's the essence. And for the listeners listening to the Be a Wolf session, and all my listeners, I just want to go check out Jai and really look at the overall presence that he's got, and like the messaging that he's got. It's not just based on a product. He's selling a mindset, which is really, really hard to do. And not many people can do that. Selling a mindset as a product is one of the
Man,
hardest
it's
things.
the hardest fucking thing you can never do.
It's the hardest thing you can do. And I
The
promise
hardest
you,
thing.
if it's that one thing that you can master, you can literally master anything in life. And
Yeah.
I honestly, big fan. I'm just going to keep saying that throughout this podcast. We'll
Thanks,
probably
man. I
have
appreciate it.
a couple more minutes left, bro. I probably want to take too much of your time because I know you're busy.
Oh, all good. Yeah.
Now, give us a little bit of, just because, we're all about, at Be a Wolf, especially, we're all about breaking negative stereotypes in our communities and inspiring kids to really chase their passion, purpose, and really, really
Ooh, I love that.
find their confidence through the things they like doing. And I'm a big believer in opportunities, and you have the power to create your opportunities, but it's all a numbers game. The more opportunities you create, the better the chances. And I'm a big believer in that. So what was one of your biggest setbacks and failures that you're most grateful for?
I'm grateful for every single setback and failure. Every single one, I learned something different, and it comes at the right time, and it gives me a different understanding of myself, of my team, of business, of how everything works. And even though it's hard to see at the time, it's really, really important to not shy away from mistakes or from setbacks. I think so many of us were trying to avoid problems, but it's not the way to think. You're gonna always have problems, no matter where you are, no matter how big you grow, no matter what community you have. It's just the aim of the game is to get bigger problems, so then you worry less about the little shit problems. So we want big, crazy problems. So then it means we're moving the needle towards something that keeps us up, keeps us scared, keeps us excited, keeps us growing. Because you got big problems means you need big solutions, and big solutions is always going to bring big money. So if that's what you're looking for, you're always trying to etch yourself towards those bigger problems. Now, every mistake, there's always people always say it's like cliches, like you learn from your mistakes and things like that. And I don't believe that's the way you should learn. Like some people say, like mistakes equals learning or lessons or education. No, if you're teaching mistakes, I don't really want to learn from you, because learning from mistakes is the wrong way to learn. We have a certain amount of confidence, courage, and capacity each day to take in new information. And if we're learning from other people's mistakes, it's a mistake, because now we are retaining their mistakes, trying to avoid that, but we no longer have space for the success path. So if we change that and we just went to, okay, what was the thing that worked? What's the success? And we learned that, it means, yeah, sure, there's other mistakes and you're going to have to navigate around those anyway, but that's just part of life. You need to go through those mistakes, and it teaches you resilience and everything else. So I think a lot of the times, there's so many ways that we're teaching incorrectly, or we're learning incorrectly from learning from other people's mistakes. Oh man, fuck, I would rather learn from the most successful people that have actually hit the success or live in the life that I have or that I want, opposed to the people that have all the mistakes. And with the logic of like, if learning is mistakes and mistakes is education, and you learn the most from the people that made the biggest mistakes, it means like, should we all go learn from the homeless dude? Because I don't believe so. I'm like, they made lots of mistakes, but it doesn't mean it translates to education whatsoever, so we just don't have enough time and power to retain everything. So go for the success.
I love that. Especially the education, the education piece, bro. Like, do you think, especially do people struggle to learn and take in education as well? Like, do you think as a whole?
I think everyone learns completely differently. And I think too often we're being sort of put into a box and then taught that we have to learn one way and only one way, which is like sitting in a classroom, retaining information, not cheating, things like that. But we all learn differently. So it's really important for us to actually lean into that. Like if cheating on your exams the way that you learn, then you should do that, right? Yeah. If having a textbook next to you, it's still a skill, because now you're resourceful, like you're completely different skill set, opposed to trying to retain and remember the information.
Yeah.
So I don't think people like struggling to learn, but I think there's so much shitty education out there that's disinteresting. And if you're not interested and excited about learning and your own education, you'll just never do it. It seems like a chore, so it's the same again, like going to the gym. Like, I struggle going to the gym because I see it's a chore. I have to go do the reps. Oh man, do I want to do it? It doesn't last long. But the second that you obsess over it and love it and you see change, and then it's fun, you do it with a best friend, and then you start competing, and then you get your all-time best and all that kind of stuff, all of a sudden it's no longer a chore, and you're going to put in the work because it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, that's true, Joe. That's true. I just see while you say that, an idea came to me, and I was talking to one of my friends the other day about this. I was like, man, I actually hated reading in school. Like, I literally hated it.
Totally.
I was like, from like year 9 to year 10, or year like literally like right through high school. I don't think
Just
I
like
read
nothing
one.
worse.
I didn't read one book like fully to the end because I just hated it, and we're just talking about it, and it's just crazy. Like, I think the craziest thing is like, I heard this somewhere, but like, people just tend to not move until they want to learn, or they
Yeah,
actually are like in a position where it becomes like, from comfortable it becomes survival, and
exactly. Yeah.
it's like, oh shit, fuck, I
It's a
better
switch that
educate.
goes off.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
shit. It's like, oh fuck, I better learn now. I'm not gonna get to this, or I'm not gonna do this. Like, even for me right now, like in the journey, I'm like, oh shit, like, what tools do I need to get better at, or what apps do I need to get around, or what's the future looking like, or where is it going? It's like I need to keep educating myself, and a lot of
Mm.
times people get to a point where they actually only realize sometimes when it's too late.
Oh,
And
always, man. It's always too late. The people that join the business map literally go like, I've been running my business for 3 years and I've literally got no money now, no leads, no nothing. And I'm like, well, why did you wait so long? You know what I mean? Like, you literally got no money in your bank account and now you're seeking help. But it takes people to get to that point to make a change, because really the time you should be learning is when you're like, man, I'm booking so much. I've got so many leads coming in and everything's just working. Now you should be learning because you got money and you can invest in things, and there's always something you can do better. You're always leaving money on the table, no matter who you are.
100%. Just magic coming out of your mouth today, Joy. Just magic. All
Hey,
right.
man, just for you.
Now, okay, let's go back to some quick fire questions.
Mm-hmm.
Piece of advice
Mm-hmm.
that you would give yourself, bro.
Stop playing so small.
Just let the mic drop for a minute. I love it. Love it.
That's what I would tell myself. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome. Now, how do you tap into your upbringing to really keep you going? Now, what I'm talking about here is we
Yeah.
talk about this a lot at Beowulf, is how do you actually tap into your inner kid? We talk about at Beowulf, we talk about like a lot of people as they grow older, they lose their inner kid. Like, they go into a corporate job, or they get lost in the noise around them, or they get too many influences hitting them, and they can't figure out who they were. And that this shit usually happens before they can find out who the fuck they are. Do you know what I mean? And
I
so
do.
how do you tap into your inner kid to keep you going?
It's pretty funny because I don't really have an inner kid, because I've always just been a kid. I still see myself like that still now. Like, I'm the underdog. I've got everything to gain, nothing to lose. I'm underrated, unseen, unhelped. Like, I always think about these things. And so for me, like, yeah, like tapping back into my childhood, the way that I do it is like, I don't want to go back there, and I don't want to be in a situation in my life where things are out of control again and I'm not taking full responsibility of everything, which is like me being a kid, right? You have to depend on your father or your mother or whoever it is. So yeah, like, I use it as inspiration. You're saying before, like, we won't move until we're uncomfortable. The thing is, I keep myself always uncomfortable because I'm always thinking about these things, the places I don't want to go, the things I don't want to do. I don't want to be resting, I don't want to be relaxing, because I'm keen to move somewhere. I've been somewhere where I don't want to be, and I'm keen to go towards my goals. So it definitely plays a big part of me taking like big action all the time.
Wow, that's so good. I love that how you put that, bro. Just so good. And I feel like hopefully that was a light bulb moment for the listeners. I just hope that was a light bulb moment, because it's just so good. All right. Okay. Is there anything else? This is the big last question. All right.
Yeah,
But before I jump
let's
into the
do it.
big last question, is there anything else that you want to kind of shout out to, give a mention to, or anything?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, just a little shout out. I think you said you're doing it for the kids as well,
Yeah.
and you said South Auckland, like lower socioeconomic area and stuff. I think, like, just understand, like, if you are a kid listening to this or from any of those areas, like, you're going to get more no's in your life, and you got to expect it. You're going to get so many no's. You're going to be knocked down so many times. There's going to be so many doors shut, but it doesn't mean you got to stop. It just means that you have to show up harder, be more resilient, and then keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it until people can't not take notice of you. People say that, like, as a creative you can't make money, and all that's BS. It's trying to make you think small, or because people have given up on their own dreams. So you need to keep showing up and proving all those people wrong and proving yourself right, that you do have it within you to make something happen. So keep at it. And anything can happen. And I know a lot of people say that all the time, but I'm the living proof of it, and I still believe it. I still have to tell myself all the time.
So good. So good. Jai is definitely the living proof. And that's why I was just so hyped to bring him on, because there's not many people that, like I said at the start of this podcast, that can do something like what Jai does. And I think a lot of times as an audience, you can take it for granted. And I feel like somebody that's been putting in work or striving to do better and sees Jai doing, they can see through it, and they can see how hard he's working. And that's why I really, really wanted to bring him on and share his stories, his mindset, his conversation. I'm pretty sure this isn't the first conversation, that's for sure. And if you haven't checked out his podcast, go check out Make Your Break. Make Your Break. I've been binging on it, and honestly, every week is pure magic. And I was kind of sad because he went on holiday. And I was like, "Where's the Mondays?"
I missed a couple weeks.
And I was like, man, I was so hyped. And honestly, his podcast is super, super amazing, and the things he's doing is super
Thanks,
super
man.
amazing. So keep doing what you're doing, bro. But last question on
this, let's do it
before we go. All right, it's gonna be simple. But Jai, Long, what do you want to be remembered for?
Ooh, big question. To be honest, I want to be remembered as someone that didn't hold themselves back for anything, any kind of fear, and gave to everyone completely all the time, 100% into everything. I feel like that would be an amazing thing to be remembered for.
So good, man. Appreciate it, eh? And just real talk, bro. Like, just everything that you said today, and like you taking your time out to have this conversation with me just means a lot. And I think there's going to be a chain effect, and hopefully for the listeners and everybody listening to Be a Wolf sessions, and also Make Your Break and things like that, it's not just, it's like a lot of times people forget that, a small conversation can have a big impact. It might not be tomorrow, but it could be like 10, 20 years from now, and the chain effect could just keep going. And, that's why, I'm a big believer in starting new things and starting what you really care and love about, because you just really don't know, the person that you're going to inspire, or the person that you might even, save someone's life, or, get them on the right path, or, break their stereotypes in their head and give them confidence, So if you don't start, the person's not going to start. And I feel like, the change starts from you, and, in communities and societies. And I think, Jai Long, you are an individual much bigger than just a creative entrepreneur. You're a change maker, man. And I think if you ever forget, and if you ever feel like giving up, bro, I just want you to remember that, man, because I assure you, I know you're going to go far, bro. I don't even need to tell you that. So you just keep doing what you're doing. And,
it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but I just keep going.
keep going, bro. And I'll be keen to have another session with you in 12 months time, and just see how you're going, and we'll keep this rolling.
Sweet, man. Thanks for having me on the show, and thanks to everyone for listening.
Epic. See you later. Keep being a wolf. Go check out Make Your Break. Let's go.